What up, YouTube? Coming at y'all with another BMS video. Just wanted to talk about the GT Vertigos a little bit. To me, the best years to collect, and just my opinion. Let's get into it. So yeah, the best year of Vertigos, in my opinion, to collect is the 88 through 89 Vertigo ST. Reason being, there was 2-year only bikes, and the 88 especially, because this was pretty much the first year that ever came out with a Vertigo. For some people who don't know what a Vertigo is, it's pretty much just the little brother, kind of the base model of a GT Performer. But yeah, and then the second one, in my opinion, the best year to collect is the 90 through 92. Reason being, the 90 through 92 is the only frame style of Vertigo that didn't share a frame with a GT Performer. Even the 88 to 89 is identical frame wise to a GT Performer, but the 90 through 92 had its own frame style. As you can see, it's pretty much like the 88, except the bottom tube is it's double bent instead of just a single slope down like that. But yeah, and also, it has the newer style GT logo on the back versus the bubble font one that would have been on this one. But yeah, like I was saying, that's pretty much a rare bike, for the simple fact, like I said, it just being the only years that they actually made a Vertigo and it wasn't a shared frame with a GT Performer. So let's get into the 88. I've showed this bike on my channel before. Again, it's not all original. Got a lot of original stuff on it. I say it's about maybe 70% original. Some things kind of correct. When I originally bought this bike, I had this bike for quite a few years. My plan was originally to turn it into like a 88 Performer, because like I said, they're pretty much the exact same. The Vertigo is actually a better bike because they was full chromoly. It wasn't like most of the Performers, which were main chromoly main tubes only. This one is like full chromoly, everything including the forks. Even the bottom of the forks is stamped 4130. And like I said, other than that, the frame looks pretty much identical to an 88 Performer. So that was my original plan, to do that. But then years went by, I was like, man, let me leave the original decals and everything on it, because pretty much, it's not a lot of these bikes around. The ones that are around, it's a few of them that's still Vertigo, but most of the ones that are still around, they were actually turned into Performers. A lot of Performers out there actually was stripped down and turned into Vertigos. Because it's, everything on the Performer is pretty much the same. The brakes, the sprocket, handlebars. The only thing that was different from an 88 in particular, because the 88 was had 1-year only components, this bike would have originally had like a rotor, an ACS rotor, and it would have had a different stem, like an ACS stem. 89, it actually went to this stem right here, the OG GT style stem. And ironically, an 88 Performer would have had this stem, which is why I left this stem on here. Actually, a better looking stem than what originally came on here. For some odd reason, when they did the 88 Vertigo, they decided to put a rotor. I don't know why. That was kind of going backwards, because at that point, the gyro had been out a little while. And I don't know, maybe they just had leftover parts and they needed a reason that they can, charge a little less than what a Performer would have cost. This seat right here is not original to the bike. This is actually a 90s seat, like a 93, that I converted into 80, 88 through 90. I think that's what years these seats went to. Maybe 91, I'm not sure, but I know for a fact 88 through 90 had these seats. So what I did was I blacked out the original, the newer style logo of the GT, and I had put a decal on it, and then I blended it in with some matte black paint or semi-gloss, whatever, and then I actually clear coated it, just so it's like, on there real good, it won't come off or whatever. It might be slightly out of where it would normally sit on the 88 seat, but I did that intentionally to pretty much cover up the GT, which you still can see if you really look close. But these seats, they cost an arm and a leg, and they be beat up, and I'm like, man, I'm not finna pay that much for a seat that's beat up just to say it's original. It is an original GT seat. It's not like it's an aftermarket seat. So I was like, man, let me go ahead and modify it. Since this seat it's kind of in rough shape, it's decent, but it has, the scrapes and things like that. So I was like, if there was a seat to try it on, this was the one. So came out good, as you can see. Average person wouldn't notice. From 5 feet away, you definitely won't notice. You have to really get up on it to notice that it's a 90s seat. But yeah, that was just a little trick that I did to save me a little cash. At some point, I will find an OG seat. If I find one for a good price, because you can't find them. They just want an arm and a leg for one that's in decent shape. So I'm just like, when I find one in decent shape for a good price, then I'll buy it. But for now, yeah, I'm gonna pass on that seat. But so these are Tomahawk mags. These would have been correct for 88 GT Performer. The Vertigo actually came with wire wheels, like spoke wheels or whatever. So I decided to go ahead and put these Tomahawks on there. I actually had these things for years, man. These wheels actually came off the first GT I ever had, the one I told you I had got stolen. Before that bike got stolen, I actually had put fan mags on it. So I was able to keep these, obviously, because they wasn't on the bike when they got stolen. So I had them many years. When I first got this bike, I had threw them on there because when I bought this bike, it just had some run-of-the-mill, like cheap, probably like some 36 spoke wheels on it, just some little cheap wheels. So I had threw these on there, and then I actually bought some 6-spoke Skyways for it, and I had put them on there for a while. But I decided to, throw the Tomahawks back on there just to switch things up. That's something I like to do. If you guys notice, I like to kind of just switch things up. But like I was saying, these are the correct wheels. These are just Gen 2, so the logos are different, as you can see. These got the newer style logos versus the bubble font ones. And I actually prefer these mags, not because of the logos. I prefer them because these, for some odd reason, they're less prone to cracking. These mags don't have any cracks. It'd be really hard to find some Gen 1s that don't have cracks. They all crack, man. Like, that's why I actually could have had some Gen 1 mags to put on here, but it's like they all crack. Like, it's very seldom you'll find a pair that don't have any cracks. They at least have cracking on the hub, which is not a big deal around the hub, but they prone to cracking on the actual lip of the mag. So unless I find something that's just not cracked, I'm not really tripping on that. What I have been thinking about doing was not really a big deal, don't really bother me, but they make decals for these mags right here that how people like had the mags and the paint is faded off, so they have them for the white mags and have for the black mags. The black mags will have the white decals, and the white mags will have the black decals, obviously. What I thought about getting some decals for the white mags and pretty much putting them over these white logos. That way, it's not damaging the logo or anything like that in case I want to peel it. But what it will do is pretty much just black out it from having a newer logo, and it pretty much just make it stealth or whatever like that. But yeah, man, just wanted to talk about that. Pretty nice bike, OG paint. Kind of go over some of the parts with y'all. So I got Tech 77 levers, ACS 860 brake in the front, GT reissue Power Series cranks, GT pedals, original GT sprocket, OG rear die comp brake, OG C clamp. This is not the OG seat post. Actually, believe it or not, I spray painted this thing years ago when I first got the bike, because when I got it, it had a bent, cheap aftermarket seat post on it. And so I got this one. This is actually a OG Tioga seat post. It's actually stamped under this sticker. Got the Tioga stamp. These seat posts actually cost a grip now. They're reinforced inside. Has like a flat piece of metal that goes inside. Actually reinforces the whole seat post. Make it less prone to breaking or whatever like that. Let's see what else. This is a cat eye reflector. Panel tires. These is OG Gen 2 fork standers. Pretty much a nice bike, man. As you can see, I did convert it to a gyro. The thing with these bikes is that I did notice that's different from a GT Performer. The fork has a shorter steering tube. Now you are able to still put a gyro on it, but it's real tight. But it's enough. It still catch enough threads for it to be safe and all of that. But it's tight because it's a little shorter. Because like I said, this bike was meant for a rotor. But yeah, man, just wanted to talk about the Vertigos a little bit. I did have a 96 Vertigo, 95 through 96 Vertigo. I sold that one. So I'm probably going to do a video in the future. I've been thinking about doing it for a long time. I just haven't got around to it. Showing y'all the differences between like just the years of the performance. Because a lot of people be asking me like, how do you tell the difference between such and such year? And I was going to do it a while ago, but when I sold my Vertigo, the 96 Vertigo, I didn't do it. So, but I can actually show y'all for the most part, the differences between the years. I got enough bikes to actually line them up and, just show you, how to tell the frame differences, the forks, and things like that. But yeah, man, just wanted to give y'all a little overview of the Vertigos and give y'all my opinions on the collectible years. All right, y'all.